Hello, 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 everyone. Good morning. Happy Tuesday. How is everyone doing on this fine, wonderful Tuesday? Am I in the screen? It's chilly here. Again, it's only like 60 degrees. It's chilly. I had to put on a sweat jacket. Ah, what was I thinking? All right, moving to the desert. Good morning, Sterling. Good morning, Patrick. Lots of good stuff with Sterling putting in the news so far because it's a very quiet week. I missed that. I actually missed that. Thank you. Private equity looking to buy out Peloton. Very interesting. We'll see. Has it gotten to that place where it's cheap enough? But how are they going to see if they buy it out? It's got so much. Somebody's got to restructure the debt. That's going to be the big thing. How's the debt going to get restructured? Going to be interesting. Cryptocurrencies are securities under the law. But due to it being the Wild West, you know what? There are no disclosures. What else do we have? Yeah, I saw that the rents, I did see that, grew 7 times faster than wages. Everything's out of whack. Stuff's so much out of whack. We need a big reset. Who thinks we need a big reset? If you think we need a big reset, just like this video. Give me a like, anyways. Because, oh, jeez. So I'm doing my research. I'm not going to buy anything yet. We're not going to buy anything yet, but I like to research. Real estate's is still a trade to me. So I'm hearing, oh, well, price cuts are starting. So I'm looking at a property bought for last March 23, 1.825. It was relisted this March for 3.8. With it, you'd think, okay, was it a gut rehab? Did they do something? No. And now they've cut the price, then it's like, okay, well, we've cut the price now to 3.4. I'm thinking, yeah, but you jacked something 2 million in 1 year. Like that even makes sense. And so now you've cut it. So price cuts galore. No, you're still. It's absurd. And we just need a huge reset. That's all I have to say. We need a reset. What else? What else? Yeah, Apple's up to. You know what? Everything's still getting pumped. Still getting pumped. Call Bob Ferrari halted after falling as much as 5%. I didn't see that it fell that much. I know they missed with deliveries. Druckenmiller's long-term bullish on AA, and Mark says good morning. Good morning, McRangers. Good morning again, Mark. Uh, what else? What else? I saw that about the New York Dem and that stuff. Morning, Eric. Thanks for taking another half. Yes, you're welcome. Again, if there's questions I didn't get to yesterday, let me know. Heinrich, good morning. Good morning, Pavneet. Haven't seen you in a while, Pavneet. I hope you're okay. Good morning, Legion Reaver. Hey, Charles. Good morning, Royal Palms. Good morning, Martinez. Cash and carry. The housing market is proving more resilient to tight monetary problems. You have a lot of people a lot of high wealth net individuals, and now people are over leveraged again. Not just that even if you pay cash, if you own too many properties or have it too concentrated, you're still over leveraged. Well, you're welcome, Royal Palms. Good morning, John. What else? I'll have to catch up on these Kashkari comments. Good morning, Jacob. What else is going on? Hey, good morning, Jacob. Did I say good morning to you? If reset means getting rid of communist policies, reset means let's just get. Can somebody tell me how the younger generation is going to afford anything yet, unless we have some kind of? It's. I mean, if you were remember people, even from my generation, I could buy a house, a decent house in my early 30s, a decent house, even late 20s. Now, not seeing that at all. Again, as you pointed out, Sterling, wages, and that's just New York City, but wages in a bunch of cities have not kept up with rental. I mean, can barely. Where I'm renting, decent neighborhood, and the house across the street has 5 people. It's a rental, and 5 people. 5 people sharing it to just be able to get by. That's, and I'm not talking luxury. I'm not in $1 million property out here. I'm not going to pay that kind of rental money. I don't even. So, hey, Rich says we need a reset. The young have bought into own nothing and live with parent and be happy. Yeah. I don't know anymore. I don't understand anything, but it's not up for me to understand. We got the red book numbers coming out again hot. 6% versus 5.5. Again. Is Kashkari speaking again today, or is this? I know it's not 11:30 Eastern time. So is that time wrong and he's already speaking now? But we don't have much going on today. We really don't. So it's all just going to be scrolling headlines. You have Apple up on the AI and the Rivian stuff. You got Nvidia down a bit. Disney was a beat on EPS, a miss on earnings. Remember, earnings trump EPS, down 7.6%. Tesla down a little. But overall, just a mixed morning. If we look at the groups, let's just do a refresh on this. Consumer defensive. So there might be a pause after we ran up. We closed above a very key level yesterday. So the probabilities have shifted that we should retest the high areas, not necessarily the high areas from April. Consumer cyclical pulling back. So keep that in mind. I mean, probabilities are not guarantees. There are very few guarantees in. Really, what guarantees do you have? I guess death and taxes. And the sun coming up, even if you don't see it because it's cloudy weather. Although you see the sun most days out here. In terms of rate hikes, still caught in September, still on the table. Fear and greed still not out of fear mode yet. Going to take some more lifting, but with probability shifting up, I'm looking to at least get this back to neutral. All right. And I'm even on. It's only five espressos so far today, but I need that coffee to kick in. We had Disney report down big. Really, there's not much going on. Palantir was, at least yesterday afternoon, gap down after earnings. Today after the close, we got Rivian. Really, there's not much. There's not much to talk about. Tomorrow out before the open, you got Shopify and Toyota. But this is one of those quiet weeks. Good morning, Christoph. All right, Kashkari is speaking now, so he's not speaking again. Moved, yes. See, Pavneet, right on. We're not quite yet to the double top area on the on the futures, but Pavneet paying very close attention. If you jump, I have the levels on here. Why do I have the levels on here before we've even got to double top territory? I was looking, and I would actually shift this to conservative side once we start rolling over, but just wanted to get an idea. Because these, as I said on Ninja Trader yesterday, these lows from the 19th of April are going to be critical. Look where that could take us. If this does turn into a double top and then we close below that, not saying this could happen. The market could just keep running higher. I mean, you got the election year. It's favorable to the upside, historically. So it could keep running. Hope some people tuned into Ninja Trader yesterday. Listen to me blather on. That could take us back to the 50 to 62.5, though, if this double sets up and then were to roll over. Again, it's not there yet. But if you look at the spiders, as Pavneet pointed out, 516.92 takes us into potential double top territory. We're going to open above there, 517.39. So even if we open at 517, that's above that level. Takes us into, and you see that takes us on the spiders back to the area of the 200, which we've not retested since November, and potentially between the major support zone 50 to 62.5. By the way, the Qs, I'll just do this a little reverse. The Qs yesterday hit the 75%. Now this is lopsided. So we're going to need some work to do. But if you see this on the weekly, see, yes, it's a little lopsided. I'm still going to follow it. I'm still following it. I'm making a judgment call. But that could, once we flip this around, sometimes trading is, when you get advanced, it can be a judgment call. If we go from the conservative side, the lower side, it takes us back to the 50 to 62.5. So, back to the S&P futures. The S&P futures, again, have to get above 552.41. 51, I've been talking 51.95. We closed above that yesterday. We are getting closer to daily cycles tops, but not there yet. We are getting closer to overbought, but not there yet. So this can continue to chug higher, even if it pulls back. The major support area, I'm just going to go to the major area right now, is about this 51.50. You got the rotation zone crossing on the daily, so that provides also support. So even on a short-term pullback, still higher for longer, higher at least in the short term, and that could turn into more of the midterm. So remember that 62.5 is very key from my perspective for at least raising a stop. But with the close above there, I wouldn't be too anxious just yet to take profits, even on minor pullbacks. That would be a stop raise area, and why would I not be taking a lot of position off there? Because once the probability shifted, we should see. We have the 87.5 rule. There's no guarantee it will get to that 87.5 area. It could maybe stall out at the 75, putting us into potential double top area, but the 75 could be an area at least. Then take partial profits. I talked about trading multiple contracts yesterday. So that could be an area maybe, if you have multiples, if you only have two, I'd probably shoot for closer to the 87.5. If you have multiples, like let's say you're trading 3, 75 could be a great area to take something off. Then the 87.5, then you keep trailing on the last one. And it could also be add something back. Remember, if you're trading multiple contracts, on pullbacks to key levels, you can also add something. Yeah. So, let's say we ran up to 52.41, stalled out a bit, and then came back into a rotation zone and got a % beat buy maybe. You could always add one back. Once you get into some of these advanced stuff and learn to really wrap your head around trading multiple contracts, it can make a world of difference. Now, beginners, again, trade small. And I think it's more challenging when you have, as I talked about yesterday, with this, just a single contract. That's why I love the micros. Love the micros. Going into today, if you don't want to hear me ramble on about this stuff, then let me know. That 51.95 is key support. I'll be watching that 4-hour rotation zone on any pullback. And 51.95 is very key support for me. And then you actually don't have much. We have some other support right down about 51.75 to about 51.80. That would be a major support zone for me today. Other than that, if you want something minor, there's not even a good pausing bar on the 4-hour. Look at this. There's not even a great pausing bar on the 1-hour. It's sort of getting this flat wedging pattern, but I would not fight this. Let's see. I really appreciated the rant yesterday. We need more of those. Well, I don't plan those. They just sort of happen. What else? LJ, listen to your new Ninja Trader. Good job as always. Thank you, LJ. And thank you for chiming in on the chat. I really appreciate it. Everyone, welcome LJ. Fed must set policy based on short-run neutral rate. All right. To quote Led Zeppelin, ramble on. Hey, I'm a Zeppelin fan. Love me some good Zeppelin. All right. NASDAQ also closing above that key, 82.5. getting that first cross rotation zone. So major support is 17.9. Very key support is 18,100 area. 18,100 on any pullback. Not yet an overbought, not yet with daily cycles tops. Also remember, I didn't talk about it with the S&P, but weekly, same thing. Weekly still got room to run, potentially. Unless something shocking comes out to override this, we still have room to run on the weekly cycles for maybe another week or two. That doesn't mean every day has to be up, but we have many things pointing to higher prices in the short term, even after pullback days. So 18,310, then 18,509. What would I be looking at today in the minor stuff? I'm watching this. We sort of have sideways support base about 18,135, but my major support level will come in about 1875 to 18,100, where I'll be watching if we do get any pullback. The Dow has not closed above the 62.5. Remember, this was not a double bottom either. So the next target on the Dow is 39,272. For the upside plays, what do you think I'm favoring? It'd be the S&P and NASDAQ. Why? They've closed above the 62.5. The Dow is lagging, so that's not my favorite for an upside play. Support coming in at 38.9. Russell did close above the 62.5, so you can still consider the Russell. If the Russell were to, again, top out, I got to fix something there. This is off. We got to fix that. There we go. It still closed. It did not close above the 62.5. Sorry, I am wrong. That was unanchored. I have to correct myself. It looks like it could close above there today. And it's not in double top territory, but what's interesting here is if we do come back up above 2104, it is in potential double top territory. Look where it caught on support with the 200. Look where it could return to. Again, this could keep going up, but I'm just paying attention because these April 19th lows, the day my house closed, maybe there's a connection with that. Just kidding. That could take it back to the October lows. Other than that, again, 2104 and 2135. The major support level coming in about 2041. VIX, still no fear. Going to be watching to see if this comes down to the low 13s. DAX, the DAXy looks like today it's going to close above the 62.5. You look at that resistance at that 62.5. Stall out. Stall out. Yesterday's high, stall out. Finally blowing through this. This is going to take it, potentially, again, double top territory. Sound like a broken record, but might never trigger. Where would that take us? Look at that. Back to the, at least look at the second target on that. Could be to the 200. Other than that, key support now is 18,375 area. Notes still on this bounce play. Let's look at the yields though. Yields coming into a very key support area. Against the 50. Against the 50. We got, sort of, let's see if this low area holds and sets up a very sloppy double. Other than that, we're against the 50. If that breaks, the next major area is 3.35 to 3.36. Dollar index, not much going on there. Still going to be watching for another rollover play there because in the euro, give me my euro. The euro still, we can see. I got to clean this up a bit. Let me clean this up. We could easily see the euro return to this 108.70 area. That's what I'm keeping an eye on there. The yen, I'll jump back to crude and everything in a second. The yen looks like it's trying to work off some of its volatility with the intervention and reestablish a footing, but there's nothing fantastic in there now. By the way, yesterday was a percent B buy with the break above and the close above Friday's high. Just for the people following along with that pattern. Crude, we did have a double for a while, turning into a clear triple. But the level I'm watching is this 79.10 area. And that would only be for a bounce play. For a bounce play only. It's actually, this needs to put in a more substantial bottom, and there's substantial overhead resistance. Crude, we could be getting to a bottoming area. I would actually love crude to get between this 50 and 62.5 and then form some more substantial bottom. We have daily cycles trying to turn up right now. Gold broke out of this channel, but we still have the double top that hit and stalled out at the first target, but I'm still watching for another potential rollover in gold in the short term. There's not a strong buy bias just yet. We have caught on the bottom of the weekly, or the top of the weekly rotation zone, but we have weekly cycles still need to fall off. I could see another pullback before a decent move. But if you're a long-term gold bull, this is nothing to change the long-term position. Spiders, again, next target's 516.92. We're going to open above that, then 520.77 to take us into, or to complete the 87.5 rule. So, the major support level is 508.50 to 509. The minor support level is back at 513. The Qs, 75. Now this, again, is really ugly double. You can see it looks a little better on the weekly, although the reason this can still qualify as one side, and you can roughly see it with the monthly, is because of the wide separation between this side and what's going to be this side. If we had just gone top, and then it only came down and formed another top, it would be a clear triple. This is a lopsided double. But Q's fully qualified for double top territory. The next target, 444.81. Key support area I'm watching on this on any pullback is 435. We have a gap fill potentially back here, 435.48 to about 436. Good old Bitcoin not doing much. By the way, NVIDIA, the double, this double over here that hit the first and got partway to the second target, invalidated now. Okay? Now, this is going to be the same sort as the Qs. A lopsided double. Might never trigger. But you see here on the weekly rotation zone, so I'll be paying attention to this low now. This low of 756.06, because that could really take it back substantially lower if this were to trigger. But until then, this thing favors. We've already turned to the 75%. So 946, we could see another return to 946. Tesla, nothing much going on here. What else have I missed? Always nice to listen to you Chicago boys getting together and enjoying memories of the only real baseball played there by the White Sox. The White Sox are abysmal this year. Oh, my goodness. Mike, after above 62.5% close, what percentage of times it goes to 87.5? It's the difference why I have the 87.5 rule is because it's only a couple more percentage points that it stalls out. So again, it varies on markets, but I'm just going to throw out a hypothetical. Let's say the probabilities after the 62.5 is that there's an 80% chance it's going to close at or above that 75, and there's a 78% chance that it will make it to the 87.5. That's the kind of difference I'm talking about. So that's why it's an 87.5 rule, because it's still so lopsided that it's going to test that 87.5 I'll use the 75 because the 75 qualifies it for a double top. But my real target is still at 87.5. Unless you get above that 75 and it forms another kind of short-term reversal pattern. Then I might be a little more aggressive because, again, there's no guarantee it has to get to the 87.5, but that's why I have the 87.5 rule. I hope that makes sense. If you were to be interested in a buyout play on Peloton, which is a book value of negative 159 per share, how would you private equity actually value the company? That's what I'm struggling with. That is what I'm struggling with because of the debt load they're carrying. Unless they can do a massive debt restructuring, because if you're patient with Peloton, or you have some reason to want their user base, but I can't see private equity doing that unless they have a way to really restructure it. I mean, I could see this if the stock price drops low enough, like an Amazon at some point could pick it up just because they have a whole delivery mechanism in place, and they could roll it in with another thing on a Prime membership that you have a surcharge, or if you're already a Prime member, Amazon already released now for $9.99 a month, you can get the free delivery from Whole Foods. You could roll in another thing like that, but this thing needs to drop more. Or somebody's just going to scoop it up out of bankruptcy. Yes, the market is overbought, but it can get more overbought. And remember, with the probability shift, that I'm not saying you can't have pullback days. It's not technically over. It's getting into overbought now. You can see here's my RSI at the bottom. It's the 5 period. It's getting there. But look, it can stay overbought for quite some time, can't it? All right. And also remember, where's my other thing? This is a great this Fear and Greed Index is actually pretty fantastic because this can pop out of fear still back into neutral. I'm watching for it to at least reset into neutral. That's why we follow it from a longer term perspective. So this could easily, that's why on any pullback days, they wouldn't surprise me. And we have the probabilities that shifted. So got to trade with those. Yeah, I really don't know. I'm going to have to think more. I'm going to have to do a little more research to see what private equity is thinking. Or it could just be some, rumor. All right. Let's just peek at the S&P opening. Pretty strong opening bar right there. Let's just see what the tick. Tick's got to be pretty, only slightly above 1,000. So again, watch to see we get the tick pullback now. But remember from yesterday, look, the tick pretty much minus 400 is the lowest it pretty much dropped. Look at this support floor at minus 200. Yesterday had a very bullish tick, so I'm going to be watching. Again, yesterday turned into just a slow grinding trend day. Watch this pullback, and especially if it keeps holding in the upper fours during the open. Because now the key support for me in the short term is 52.15. The major support is back around 52.10. I'm surprised Peloton is only running a 15.42% short interest. Well, remember, would you see, Peloton can keep going down, but it's not a good short for me at this time. Why? Because you have more upside risk that something could happen. Okay, you do. Let's say they have a creative way of doing some restructuring and taking it private and figuring this out. Well, this could still theoretically bounce more. You're trying to short with, like, would I be shorting Peloton at $3? You have $3 worth of reward, and you have substantial risk to the upside. It's not worth it. That's why the short interest isn't there anymore. When Peloton was, I mean, even when it was at 10, you had you had a lot more downside potential than upside risk. Now you don't have the massive downside. But then now, if this were to pop back up at this point to, maybe $6 and then start rolling over, you're probably going to get some more short interest in there. Because now, look, it could return to 3 before it hits 9 easily. All right. Hope everyone has a wonderful trading day. And thank you for tuning in. Let's get some more likes going. Oh, thank you. We're up to a fair. Oh, we got 128 people watching this, so that's good. I didn't get to all the questions yesterday. I can't stay extended today, but remind me there were other questions that we need to follow. We're getting the viewership. It looks like the channel's being sort of suppressed. We're getting more viewers back in. So I really appreciate that. Again, we'll keep going. You can learn a lot here. We're not selling anything right now. It's the free teaching I've been doing this since 92, in the market since 92. So if you're wanting to learn something or ask questions, this is all to help people. All to help people if you're new here. How do you read the percent B value? Sometimes so close to zero that it's hard to know if the next bar is a percent B buy. So, well, I just expand this and look, like, because you can see, if I raise this up, you can just see, you can give you the exact readings. Okay? So you can see, like, from the Thursday, May 2nd was 11, but from the first it was a minus 6.06. So that qualified. Okay? So that's how I look. Or you can have something, I mean, some people have written stuff that highlights the exact, it highlights the bar a different color if it's negative or zero. But that's how I look. And I'll probably get into more advanced percent B stuff in the future at some time. But I love it. I love that little, it's fantastic, especially when cycles are at a bottom or you've pulled back into a major rotation zone, you get a percent B buy. Love those setups. All right, with that, I shall talk to everyone later. Have a wonderful, wonderful trading day. I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye for now.